Hi, this is Chris Young, and welcome to Good News on Tap for the Feast of the Holy Family. It's been over 20 years ago since I taught Sunday morning religious education classes, or as we called them in those days, CCD classes. I taught 7th grade because I thought that age was a turning point in my own life when I started to drift away from the church. Now, being 12 or 13 years old is a naturally rebellious time, but for me it wasn't so much rebelling against the church or the authority of the church. For me it was just that the church didn't seem very relevant to me. So later in life, when I returned to the church after being away for several years, I decided that working with people in that age group was something I wanted to do to try to help them stay connected to the church. Well, as it turns out, teaching children is not necessarily one of the gifts God has given me. It didn't really work out very well. After 2 years, I decided to focus all of my attention on adult classes like RCIA and our Catholics Returning Home programs. But I still look back at one of the 7th grade classes that I led with fond memories. It was Parents' Day at CCD class, and the parents were invited to sit in. At my suggestion, the kids decided to put on a couple of skits. In the first skit, a family had gone shopping at the mall. Somewhere along the way, they lost track of the 12-year-old kid. And after searching high and low, they finally found him in a record store. Now, this was back in ancient times when you had to actually physically walk into a store to purchase a record. You couldn't just download it from iTunes or order it from Amazon, although we were advanced enough to be buying CDs in those days. Anyway, when the parents expressed their frustration that the kid had been lost, the kid replies, "Didn't you know where I would be? Didn't you know what was important to me? Didn't you know to look for me in the record store?" We then asked the parents' reaction to the skit. What did you think about how the kid behaved? And what about the parents' reactions? Questions like that. Then we did another skit based on today's gospel reading. The reading where a 12-year-old Jesus gets separated from his parents, Mary and Joseph. And they become very worried about him. They eventually found him in the temple discussing theology with the elders. And when confronted by his parents, Jesus replies, "Did you not know I would be at my Father's house about my Father's business?" And their reply was that they didn't understand what he meant. They were still clueless. The reaction of my students' parents was as we had hoped. It helped them to see that their frustrations about their pre-teenage kids were not unique to them. Even Mary and Joseph had been similarly frustrated. One of the parents said, "If Mary and Joseph couldn't keep track of their kid, it's no wonder I'm clueless about what my kids are up to most of the time." The point of the gospel is that everyone learned a lesson. Jesus came to understand that his parents did not fully understand him or what he was about. Yet he also saw their love and their concern and their worry when they had lost him. It says he returned with them to Jerusalem and was obedient to them. And likewise, Mary and Joseph were somewhat enlightened by the event, and they even treasured these things, because it says his mother kept all these things in her heart. Today's families are even more complicated, because many don't have both a father and a mother to share the burdens. Some children are even raised by grandparents. Family life is more complicated than it's ever been. But we can draw strength from the example of the Holy Family and try to make every scary situation a learning experience that draws everyone closer together and provides them with further proof that a loving family can deal with even the most difficult situations if they remember to love and to respect one another's role in the family. And that's Good News on Tap for the Feast of the Holy Family.